All right, everybody, welcome back to the Freddy is Ready podcast. This is episode 20. I think we're at 20 now. Yeah, I believe we're at 20. It's gonna be a cool little episode we got. It's gonna be a little shorter, but I mean, we're gonna get it done regardless. We got a lot of stuff going on lately. Well, by a lot, few areas to discuss, but there's plenty to discuss in those areas, right? So I feel like UFC's been the main topic right now for the town. I've been watching UFC a lot. I feel like UFC's been great for promotion, it's been great for controversy, it's been great for everything as of late, right? And a lot of it came from the card that just happened, which is UFC 327. That card, in my opinion, was the best that I've seen this year. And I don't think it shocks anybody, right? I think that's the consensus, right? That it's the best. Some people disagree. I feel like you can't really disagree. This year, the cards have been very lackluster, maybe besides the very first card of the year with Gaethje. But besides that, I mean, this card was like getting finishes. If it wasn't finishes, they were entertaining, except with the exception of one fight. But I mean, if we jump into it, right at the prelims, we had dominance, finishes. I mean, Tatiana Suarez just dominated one by submission in round two versus Lupi Gutierrez, right? I probably pronounced her name wrong, but I didn't really catch too much of this fight. I was doing work, but I mean, she from what I saw from highlights and all that, she came out and just dominated, right? I mean, she's asserted herself back into the title contention, and she's probably going to be the number one contender. She was ranked second before this fight happened, and she'd be number six. So, I mean, it's a great victory for her. Not gonna lie, like this projects her back into title title talks. And they had Gamrot, who submitted Esteban Re- Ribovics in round two. That's another dominant performance, right? I believe he won by head and arm. I believe he won in head and arm triangle, or he won by rear naked choke. One of the two. But that's another one who was just dominant, right? And Esteban being a young contender up and coming, got just starched and felt like a stop in the road for him when Gamrot just continued to dominate. And Gamrot's been picking up a lot of these victories. And whenever he fights these top guys, I feel like he just gets outshined. I wouldn't say he's not elite, but I would definitely say he can beat a lot of these guys and be bad matchups for a lot of the guys in the top five. But at the same time, I feel like he is his deficiency in the striking is gonna kill him a lot as he gets up in the rankings. A lot of those guys can strike very well, and Gamma, we've seen a lot panic wrestles. Every time he gets in a situation where he feels isn't favorable, he reverts to wrestling, shooting. Always reverts to shooting for double legs or single legs. Never really clinches. Never really, kicks a lot. Gets out of range with his fork. He reverts back to shots, and a lot of times he gets predictable, similar to Dan Hooker. Very predictable. Dan Hooker would keep him in the body, and every time he sensed there was I guess, moment of doubt in Gamera, he knew a shot was coming, and right away he just panicked, right? Just panicked from the beginning, allows strikers to defend really well. And strikers, I mean, there is strikers in the division who can get taken down fairly easily or dominated fairly easily, but if I tell a striker I'm going to shoot, he can defend it, right? Unless you got the wrestling ability of Hamza, Bo Nickel, other guys like that. But then following him and sticking in the prelims was Kevin Holland and Randy Brown, which was a lot of people picked Randy Brown to win this fight. I believe Kevin Holland was the underdog, and I didn't really make a prediction for this fight. I didn't really pay too much attention either, but it was a good fight. From what I saw, it was a really good fight. Both guys exchanged really well, exchanged a lot of kicks, and Kevin Holland's a dog, right? Kevin Holland is just gonna fight anybody, everybody. His resume is gonna go up there with the Poiriers. Obviously, he's not gonna have as many wins or as many flashy knockouts, but he's fought a lot of if you look at his resume, Holland has fought everybody. Everybody Holland has fought. Hamza, he's fought Joaquin Buckley, he's fought Randy Brown, he's fought Stephen Thompson, he's fought Michael Venom Page. He's fought a ton of high level fighters, and how many can really say that, right? How many can really come out and say, "Yeah, I fought everybody," right? We look and he's fought D Rod, he's fought Luke, let me see who else he's fought. He's fought RDR. He's fought Roman Dolidze. He's fought JDM, Michael Chiesa, and Buckley. Like I said, he's fought Anthony Hernandez. So, like, I don't know. Like, he's literally everybody in the middleweight. He's fought Jeff Neal. He's fought. It's crazy. I don't think there's another Thiago Santos, which made his debut. I don't think there's another fighter with his resume right now. Brendan Allen. He's fought, I believe, 4 or 5 out of the top 10 middleweights, all in a span of a couple of short period of time. Right? Holland is one of those guys where you give him a fight, he's gonna fight. He doesn't care. He's gonna get paid. He's just gonna come to win. He's gonna come to get a fight, put on an entertaining fight, win fight of the night or whatever. But my fight, like, this was my favorite fight of the card. I mean, there was a lot of good fights that were gonna happen, but my favorite fight was gonna be Patricio Pitbull versus Aaron Pico, and Pico obviously won by unanimous decision. But man, did Pico look good? Pico looked great. His ability to mix his boxing and wrestling was never a doubt, right? Coming over from Bellator, he was one of the most hyped Bellator signings, as well as prior to Bellator, he was one of the best prospects in the world. There's been a lot of fighters. I believe Henry Cejudo's mentioned it, and I'm not sure if TJ Dillashaw, but somebody else mentioned it. But I think it was Bo Nickel mentioned Pico. How he could have went to the Olympics. He was one of the highest regarded wrestlers. Instead, he chose the route of MMA. He was a Golden Gloves boxer, so he has the full package. He just very much got into the game very early and got capitalized on and exploited for his aggressive nature, right? His IQ and controlled aggression was what was exciting to see for me, right? It was always going to be about, can Pico limit the chances? Because every time he decided to take a chance of not winning, because he's always good of winning. He has the skills to beat everybody, but he always took chances to finish fights. And whenever you take those chances, you get count. You open the doors for getting stopped or getting caught. And Pico, that's every time he's lost has been because he got caught and flatlined. Pitbull was always going to be a guy, and especially at this point in his career, where he wasn't going to win at the UFC title. He's just too far in his career. He's past his prime, but he was going to be somebody who can be a gatekeeper and still prove that he's there, right? Ranked number 13. He lost to Yari Rodriguez, but after that, he hasn't lost. So this was the perfect fight because whoever lost, both guys were getting paid we're gonna get paid a good amount of money. Whoever lost was pretty much gonna get cut. That was the whole narrative behind a lot of the media, a lot of other creators, content creators, was that whoever lost was going to get a cut. And I'm honestly happy Pico won because Pico, being the 29-year-old he is, I believe, he is great. He has the talent and the skill to beat anybody, like I mentioned in the featherweight division. He is, I believe, ranked 12th now or 11th in that division because he took Pico Pitbull's ranking. But I'm excited to see what happens going forward, right? Especially, he even mentioned it, quoting him that when he got knocked out by Leroy Murphy, that it was something good that happened to him. He was embarrassed on live television. He was flatlined, and he said that was good because he had to really take a step back and say, am I going to keep allowing these guys to basically just win because of my mistakes? And we're going to get into who I want to match him up with eventually. But this is the main card. We're going to get into the main card now. So Cub Swanson defeated Nate Landwehr by knockout in the first round, this is just a perfect send-off for Cub Swanson. He completely flatlined him, completely steamrolled the guy. The guy didn't come close to like doing anything to Cub. Cub definitely stuffs more in the tank, but like he said, he's done fighting. He's just tired of it. He doesn't want to keep getting hit. Who does, right? You made enough money. You could probably go into and venture out to different career paths, whether it's coaching, whether it's analyst, commentating, any of that sort. Fair. Give his flowers to Cub Swanson. That's a true legend of the game. And then to me, the worst fight on the card was Dominic Reyes and Johnny Walker. This fight was boring. Both guys don't have chins, and both guys have knockout power, and we didn't see one good punch get land. I couldn't believe what I was watching. I really couldn't believe what I was watching when I was watching this fight because at first I was like, okay, they're feeling themselves out. It's the first round, they're feeling themselves out, and then nothing happened. Nothing happened after that. I mean, this is why people get and fans get upset. over fighters not engaging, and then they get criticized for why didn't they get bonuses or why don't they get paid. It's like you kicked them and just circled the whole time. This fight was decided on leg kicks, front leg kicks, lead leg kicks. That was literally the deciding factor of this fight. Neither guy threw a punch that came close to knocking each other out or doing some sort of damage. They both just played it safe, I guess you could say. I mean, I can understand why both guys would be frustrated why they didn't win, but I don't think any guy really cares. They both know they didn't do anything to deserve to win. If there was ever a time to give a draw for a terrible performance, it would have been that fight. Um, and for Dominic Reyes picking up that win, good for him. But I mean, I think this next fight's not going to go well for him. I believe they're going to match him up against somebody that's going to force him to do something, or he's not going to get a favorable fight, a notable fight because of his lackluster performance. But I'm going to matchmake all those guys later on. We'll see how it goes. But I mean, this led to the fight of the year, which was Curtis Blades and Josh Hockett. If you weren't a fan of Josh Hockett, you are now. I mean, I was at first, like, when I was listening to this press conference, I was like, it's kind of annoying. I mean, I get it. Like, the trash talk is fun, and we all love trash talk, but he was kind of forcing it. It sounded a little bit like Colby Covington. Oh, man, I mean, when they announced their names and he started flipping people off, and he just started going at it with Blades, I was like, wow, like this guy could crack. This guy could fight. And Blades is no slouch. Blades is a top 5 heavyweight. Blades has only lost to the best heavyweights. He's lost to Ngannou, Derek Lewis, and Tom Aspinall as of late. He's beaten a lot of the top contenders Blades has. So Hockey going in there and exchanging with him and basically cutting up his face was very impressive. I mean, Hockey took that. He's a top 6 heavyweight, right? Top 6, top 5 heavyweight now. And Blades exchanging with him, like, that's badass. I don't care who it is. I don't care the hate they have each other. That's respect. You got to tip your cap and respect those two fighters because you don't see heavyweights going blow for blow, right? One punch can knock anybody out. When you see both heavyweights going at it, sure, they got wobbled, but they weren't going out. Both guys were just fighting. They weren't being technical. They were just fighting. And that's something that you got to respect, right? You got to. They put their life on the line on that fight, got paid, and Hockett got rewarded with a fight at the White House, which is crazy to me, right? And if you're Hockett, you put all your chips on black and you won. That's the best way to put it. He was all in on his hand, and he won. It paid off. And you be me asking how? Like, well, what do you mean all in? Hockett talked the most shit at the card, at the press conference. He was the most outspoken man, had every fighter looking at him weird. Fans were talking trash. If he lost, he would have been cut or just pushed aside and never be spoken about again. But what'd he do? He forced all of us, and by all of us, I mean fans, media, officials, executives, continue to speak about it. Continue to say, hey, you deserve a fight. You deserve a big fight. And you can't. You certainly can't blame him for that. I mean, that guy succeeded. That was the definition of a successful gamble. And credit to him. I mean, we're going to matchmake him later on, but credit to Hockett, man. Paulo Costa versus Azama. Wow, Merzkanov. That was a tough name to pronounce, but I mean, it didn't really matter because Paulo Costa knocked him out. Nasty. Paulo looked vintage, right? It was vintage Paulo Costa, the eraser. And for many people, that was certainly the question. Was moving up to light heavyweight going to be the solution for his performances, the solution to the rest of his career? Because if you don't remember, that guy came out in a heat, right? Prior to fighting Adesanya, put on a war with Yoel Romero. He's fought Vittori in a war. He's fought Robert Whitaker. He's fought Shot Strickland. He's fought Adesanya. So he's fought these big name fighters. And him going back to that eraser style with body kicks, he put himself right inside of contention. He moved up to light heavyweight and beat the number 8 ranked guy. So I believe he's ranked 8th now, or 7th, or 6th, one of the 3. So you got to think, what's next for the guy? Because he's in a tough predicament, and so is light heavyweight, which we're going to get into a little bit afterwards. but he's definitely in the discussion. Definitely in the discussion for any title fight, any title contention, any big fight, any title eliminator. He's in the discussion for being brought up, and he's gonna. It looks like he's gonna fight anybody. He could fight anybody. He could scramble. He could wrestle. He could kickbox. Everything with everybody. But talking about light heavyweight, we had the light heavyweight title on the line, which was Yuri versus Carlos Ulberg, which led to one of the wildest finishes we've ever seen. Carlos Ulberg on one leg, a wounded gazelle, knocked out the lion. And he knocked him out with a check hook that was precise, with precision of a red scope. I mean, he feinted it and threw it, I want to say 20 times in that fight. He kept throwing it. At some point, you saw Yuri avoiding it, whether it was slipping or it was just putting a hand up and guarding it with his right arm. But when it came down to it, he got caught. Yuri mistakenly gave Carlos an opportunity, and you don't do that with these guys that have dynamite in their hand, right? And he said it after the fight, Yuri being, I give him mercy. And I have people, I'm not a fighter, so I'm not going to say like, oh, he deserved it or whatever. But I could imagine if your title's on the line and somebody gets hurt by which you caused, you're supposed to incapacitate your opponent. You're not supposed to let your opponent, you know, go back and forth. You're supposed to incapacitate your opponent. Once you've done that, you've succeeded in your task. Your job was to incapacitate him and win and get paid double. Instead, he felt the mercy, which I don't know how I feel about it. Like, I know it's kind of complicating. The minute he saw he got hurt, he started leg kicking him. So when did this change? When did the mercy come into effect? You started leg kicking him left and right, but you got caught and you said it's mercy. In my opinion, Carlos was the better fighter. Carlos was the better fighter, no doubt. And the reason I say that was he caught him on one leg. If he didn't get hurt, I think he would have done the same thing. He would have done the same thing and probably put him out. Carlos is a sniper, right? Yuri, we've seen that he's had complications when it came down to technical fighters, and he's stopped a lot of these guys, right? Pereira's been the only kryptonite to Yuri prior to this fight, but Khalil Rountree knocked him out. Ozdemir knocked him out. Who Dominic Reyes knocked him out. Yamblo, no, he didn't fight Yamblo, but Glover Teixeira submitted him. But we've seen he's been caught a lot before. Prior to the Pereira fight, he's been wobbled numerous times by Glover Teixeira. Numerous times. Pereira was just the only guy that could put him out. So after being put out twice, because he got finished twice by Pereira, and Roundtree putting a significant amount of damage on him, you had to think Ulberg was going to be able to do the same thing. Ulberg was a master striker, right? And he could punch. He knocked out Dominic Reyes with a 1-2. He had the cleanest 1-2 in the game. So it was definitely going to be an option. But Yuri taking his foot off the gas pedal just widened the margin and widened the possibilities for Carlos to catch him. And everybody's been saying it, and I agree. If that fight would have went to the second round, Carlos doesn't come out of the corner. There's no way it comes out of the corner because you're not going to allow him to get the adrenaline finally rubs off when you get on the corner, right? It's like anything. It's like when you're pitching a baseball. You're throwing a no-hitter, boom. But when does stuff finally start to hit? Not when you're on the bump. You're locked in. You're pumping. You see that one guy that wants to get a hit off you and ruin your special night. You're pumping. You're throwing it at him. But when does it really sit in? When you go on that bench and you sit down and get a rest. That's when the pain starts to set in, the tiredness starts to set in, the fatigue, the emotion starts to set in. So that's when I feel Ulberg and his team would have felt it the most and say, hey, there's no point in sending you out there. You're just gonna get caught. You're on one leg. We don't want to do any irreversible damage. Okay, hey, credit to Carlos. Stuck it through, said, hey, I'm gonna put more power on my punches and catch him and put him out on the first round. If I don't come out of the second. Which is, hey, you got to give credit to him. You got to give credit to Boberg. He did what he had to do, right? He did what he had to do, and he took care of business. So you can't fault him for that. But when we move on into matchmaking, because this fight, this card opened a realm of possibilities. So in the prelims, Tatiana Suarez, I heard her next fight, in my opinion, unless Wei Li comes down, is versus Dern for the women strawweight title. That's, in my opinion, the next fight is Suarez and Dern. You have the number two who just defended her spot, and you have Dern who hasn't made a title defense yet and is not booked as of now. You match those two up, it'll be a good, fun exchange on the ground. They'll probably strike against each other, and it'll make an all sorts of a good fight. It'll make just a great fight all around. Gamrot versus Moicano. This would be electric. Both fighters are coming off big wins against fighters that aren't ranked, and they defended the rankings. The winner of this fight would get a top 5 contender, whether it'd be a top 5 coming off a loss, but they'd get a top 5 contender. Moicano can get taken down, but Moicano's got good jiu-jitsu. Gamrot's got that good cardio and that good wrestling base. Moicano's got the striking over him, and Moicano's got that scrambling ability and that defensive guard that can help him shield himself against Gamrot. It would just make a good fight overall, right? It would make a great fight. Moicano and Gamrot, both guys ranked, I believe, in the top 15. So let's double check it. But Gamrot coming off obviously went off Esteban, and then Moicano coming off win against Duncan. So yeah, you have Gamrot ranked 7th and Moicano ranked 8th. No, 9th, I'm sorry. You do those two, winner price slides up a slot from where they're at, or 2 slots if you're Moicano, and you probably get either Paddy Pimblett or you get the loser of a Max Holloway's next fight. So you're going to get a top 5 contender eventually if you're those two guys, especially Moicano, who's fought for a title. That's the next fight, Gamrot, Moicano. Moving on, you got Kevin Holland. You do the rematch with D-Rod. D-Rod and Holland would be a fun matchup. Good for a good fight for both fighters. It'll be a rematch from last year. Kevin Holland's also mentioned that he wants to fight him, so it'll be a good fight for D-Rod to come back from. I'm not sure if he's been matched up already. I don't think he's gotten a fight offer yet. Oh, okay, so yeah, I just looked it up. He's in talks to fight Leon Edwards. So if D-Rod fights Leon Edwards, then for Holland at welterweight, it's who do you look at? You can go Medic, but Medic just knocked out Jeff Neal. I doubt they're gonna have Medic fight non-ranked Kevin Holland. So if you're Kevin Holland, you probably try to. I think a fun fight would be Colby Covington at this point. Colby Covington and Kevin Holland would be a fun fight. The press covers would be entertaining. You do them too, or you can just do Joaquin Buckley. Not really. Joaquin's gonna get a top fight. So yeah, Kevin Holland. You give him a fun matchup. You give him somebody that's ranked. He just beat Randy Brown. You give him somebody that's ranked, which will be good for Kevin Holland. Aaron Pico. So the rest of the division is booked, right? You have Garcia booked against Lopez. Gene Silva looks like he's going to fight Volkanovski. Leroy Murphy's going to be out for an extended period of time. Evilev's going to fight for the title. So that whole featherweight division is booked, right? Above him. Zalal's fighting Aljamain Sterling, so that's 5 and 7 already fighting. Arnold Allen's got a fight booked against Costa. So Pico really doesn't have any other option. In my opinion, you go Pico versus Yair Rodriguez. We're number 4. You test him again. You let him get that top 5 matchup. You can go Kevin Viejos, but Viejos is probably gonna get a fight probably against the winner of Zalal and Aljamain Sterling, or he's gonna get somebody like Gene Silva if he doesn't get a title shot. So I think you do Aaron Pico versus Yair Rodriguez, and on not Cinco de Mayo on in September, you do that fight before the year ends, and then if Pico wins that, I mean he's in title contention, or that'll potentially set up the rematch of him and Murphy. So you test Pico again. Both are gonna be good on the feet. It's gonna be a tough test for Pico. His wrestling's gonna have to get involved. If Yair is not available, you got him. You, in my opinion, you match him up with the winner of Costa and Allen. Arnold Allen and Costa. A winner would project both. Whoever wins that fight would project him back into the top 5. So Pico's in a good spot. Pico's definitely in a good spot. He's gonna get a good big name. He has a big name himself. Got a lot of hype coming around him. So it's gonna be good. So next, I have the main card. So obviously, Cub Swanson, he's gonna go off to retirement, so we're just gonna skip him. but you have Dominic Reyes and I believe you said, excuse me, you set him up with Jamal Hill. This fight makes a lot of sense for both fighters. Hill's coming off back-to-back losses in dominant fashion. Reyes is coming off a lackluster fight against Johnny Walker. So you kind of need both of these guys to build some spark up. You need these fighters to knock somebody out or get a dominant finish to get them back in the contention. So you have these fighters fight. Jamal Hill, who's a sniper on the feet, is the same. There's very similar styles. Reyes and Hill. One guy will get put out. That guy will probably get pushed back and have to fight somebody that's not ranked. Winner fights somebody that is ranked. So that's the perfect fight. You do Reyes, Jamal Hill sometime in the summer or later in the year. Akin and Derek Lewis. So Dana White already announced it. They're going to be fighting at the White House. Banger fight. Banger fight. There's no more American heavyweight right now than Josh Hockett. So that's the fight that's going to be made. So to me, I really wish I would have recorded this because nobody thought of it besides Dustin Poirier. But I want to see Paulo Costa versus Roundtree, right? Paulo Costa versus Roundtree would be the fight to make. Both are highly skilled strikers with lethal power. Both kickboxers, Roundtree coming a little more from a Muay Thai base, and Costa's a pure kickboxer. The kicking would be off the charts. The IQ is going to be there, and it's going to be just a grudge match from the beginning. And then, in my opinion, winner would likely fight for an interim belt. And I'm going to get into that right now. So this is a good fight for both fighters. It projects them into an arguable number one contendership. So that's where you get Carlos Ulberg, who he's going to be out depending on the severity of the injury. If he's out, if it's true torn ACL, he's going to be out for a year. So you would probably make an interim. And that would be Ankalaev is automatically going to have to be into that slot. Is going to be inserted into that poster, that left side of the poster slot. Ankalaev, number one ranked light heavyweight. He would have to fight the winner of a Paulo Costa and Khalil Roundtree type of fight. That'll be for the interim belt. If it's not that severe, which I highly doubt, comes back in a couple at the end of the year, then you do Ulberg and Ankalaev. Ulberg shared interest in fighting him. Ankalaev is undoubtedly the number one contender, losing his title not too long ago. That's the fight. That you just see how much a good card opens up, and that's what the UFC needs to start doing to get a little more. And I'll get into a little different episode about the UFC's current landscape because I do want to talk a little bit about it. But this card was just so good, and it being very good opened up endless possibilities for fights in the summer and in the fourth quarter or third quarter of 2026. But moving on, we're gonna talk about our last topic, which is MLB. I mean, I'm a big baseball fan. That's my favorite sport. I've really enjoyed watching this year and these last couple years of baseball, not only because I'm a Dodger fan, but because it's starting to get the eyes again, right? I mean, as a Dodger fan, I've went through hardship, right, with the Dodgers getting cheated out of 2017 and probably 2018, getting eliminated in 2021, winning a title in 2020. Yeah, the landscape of the game is great right now. A lot of teams are getting more money. A lot of teams are getting more publicity. It's just great. So when you look at the AL side of the league right now, a lot of teams have been surprisingly good and bad. A ton of teams have been underwhelming, right? A ton of players have been underwhelming, especially coming out big signing. Alonso hasn't really got enough, right? He hasn't really got enough to the way he wanted to get off. It's big signing for Baltimore. Baltimore, I believe, is third in the division. So they're certainly not where they want to be. You have the Yankees who are in first or are tied with first with the Rays, but they've lost, I believe, 8 out of their last 9, or no, 7 out of their last 9. So you have teams who are struggling for sure, to say the least, struggling for sure, right? You have the Red Sox, who everybody thought was gonna be really good. They're at the bottom. Blue Jays have been one of the worst. They're 7-11. They're the defending AL champs. You have the Tigers, who, in my opinion, were gonna win the AL, are 9-9. They're not getting started very hot. Mariners, who were another team that was possibly gonna win the AL, 8-11. It's still too early to tell. I mean, these teams are going to get better as time goes on. They just got to get back into it. Players will get hot and all that. But very underwhelming for them, start of the season. And then we transition to the National League side of it, where we've seen dominance for many of the top teams. When it comes to the Braves, comes from the Dodgers, comes from the Padres have been winning very big games. I believe it is the Pirates have been also in first place. Oh no, Reds and Pirates have been in first place. That NL Central is going to be a good race for the title for that National League Central Division #1 seed. It's going to be a good fight, good fight all throughout the season. All teams are above par or at par, so they'll be competing throughout the entirety of the season. But the Mets, I want to talk a little about the Mets. The Mets have been talk of the town because of their underwhelming performances. Both stars have been terrible. Both of their stars. You look at Bo Bichette. He's having a rough start of the season. He's averaging 228 with a 271 on base percentage, 304 slugging, and 574 on OPS. So just to kind of break down OPS so you can get an understanding and understand the concept that I'm trying to get into, OPS is on base percentage plus your slugging. On base percentage is just the percentage of times you get on base. That counts as walks, hits, hit by pitch, all that goes into slugging. And it's on base percentage. So it's a detailed statistic, but it's all about just how you get on. Slugging is it calculates the number of hits you get to get on base, right? So you get 1 point for a single, 2 points for doubles, 3 points for triples, 4 points for homers. The higher you have of a slugging means the amount of times you're getting on base have been predominantly from doubles, triples, homers, all that extended, all that. So that's it. When you see hitters who have a 300 average but have a 400 slugging, it's because the majority of the time they're getting a lot of singles or doubles. If you look at a guy who's hitting sometimes 280, but they're slugging 600, you're like, what the heck? That's because they're getting a lot of doubles, hitting a lot of homers. It's basically, long story short, slugging, high percentage of number. If you hit a lot of doubles, homers, and triples, you get a low slugging if you hit a lot of singles, no matter what, right? So OPS is just all that put together. You know you're at a good number when you have a 900 OPS, 800, or 1,000. Anything over 1 point is, or anything over a point is a lot. And you look at Lindor, who's not much better. He has a 184 average, 287 on base percentage, a 289 slugging, 577 OPS. Atrocious. Both players have been atrocious. Now I know Juan Soto may not be on that level yet. Juan Soto is playing very well. 355 average with a homer, 5 RBIs, 11 hits. But you need that contribution from all those players. You don't just use it on Juan Soto. Yeah, Juan Soto, 412 on base percentage, slugging 516. OPS 929. So you're looking at a good start to the season for Soto. But the other two need to get going if the Mets want to have a chance this year. It's still too early to tell. In my opinion, Lindor is always going to figure it out. Bo Bichette coming off a year where he was one of the top, I believe he was in the discussion for batting title. He'll find a way back. He'll get back up there to around the 270 range, 280. Then Doro also find his way back, hopefully to the 260, 280 range. Hit a couple bombs, be a good, consistent number 2 hitter or lead off for Bo Bichette. Now, we kind of transition over to the Dodgers, my team, who's just been dominant from the beginning. Though Tucker, who's been the talk of the town, the 60 million overall average value per year player, he's been very underwhelming. Very underwhelming. The rest of the offense has been hot, though. You're getting contributions from Dalton Rushing, Hyun Kim, Rojas, Smith, Otani, Freeman. And guys, Rush, Kim, and Rojas aren't on big contracts. Smith, Otani, and Freeman, yeah, they're on big contracts. Smith, in my opinion, is the best catcher in baseball. Rojas is basically a defensive captain. Kim is on the rise. Kim started off in the minor leagues. He's earning himself a spot. Defensively, he's up there with all the guys at shortstop in the outfield. And offensively, he's his first tank. He gets going. Not to mention, he's a very fast runner. So Kim is versatile for any team. So Kim's going to get his way into the lineup. And then my favorite, NV Pages, 409 average, 451 on base percentage, 697 slugging, an OPS of 1.148. He is the MVP of the league so far, right? Ohtani is favored to win it because of his pitching, but if Paez, right now, if we were to stop and say who's the MVP, it's Paez. He's leads the league, not just the NL, the league in average, hits, and RBIs. Cinema. Paez being a guy who finished very poorly at the end of the playoffs last year. I believe he was hitting less than 100 at the end of the year. And now he's the hottest hitter in baseball. That's the beauty of baseball. He's going to hit a contract year eventually. Paez is going to be a free agent eventually, right? So he's balling out of his mind to earn a contract. Paez will be a free agent. Let me see. He's a free agent. Oh, he's locked up for a while. He's locked up for a while. So until next year, he hits arbitration. That's when the Dodgers are paying him. He won't be of unrestricted free agent for 2030. So he's still got 4 years in a contract. He's making $800,000. That's crazy to me. And he's putting up these numbers. Sure, incentives and all that are going to kick in. He'll get paid. But that's another player the Dodgers scattered on their own. That's not them paying a lot of money for him. I'm not against the salary cap because I already talked about it a lot, but that's just to prove the Dodgers are just levels above everybody, executive-wise, scouting-wise, coaching-wise. Dodgers continue to leave off where they're starting off where they left off, dominant. They'll be there. Braves are shockingly at top of the division. A lot of people didn't think the Braves were going to be as good, coming off a very underwhelming season last year with Acuna being out for majority of the year, and the pitching did suffer. But they've gotten great contribution from Olsen and Ozzie, right? Olsen batting .293, has 5 homers, 14 RBIs, 22 hits, a .613 slugging. Olsen's always going to be a big bomb hitter. He's always going to put the ball in the gap, always going to put the ball in the air. Olsen's going to be a stud first baseman. You have Ozzie Albies, who's hitting .288, a .338 on base percentage, a .466 slugging, 21 hits. Ozzie Albies, not much of a home run hitter, not much of a triple threat. He's very much more of a put the ball over the short and second base head, take it opposite field. He's a switch hitter, very versatile, gets on base, steals the base. Very good baseball player. So, Braves, the interesting thing is going to be the pitching. Can the pitching hold up for the remainder of the year? They got Spencer Strider. They got Chris Sale. They got arms in that bullpen that are very good. I believe they got that guy from the Angels, Rosario, or I can't remember. I can't put my finger on it. Oh, they got Robert Suarez from the Padres. They have Raciel Iglesias. That's the guy that came, I believe, from the Reds. They have a good little squad. They got Mikey Scramsey from the Giants who came over. So the Braves have the squad to compete. It's just going to be if the pitching can hold up. If the pitching can continue to thrive, can they get that contribution that's missing from the Austin Riley, the Michael Harris, and the Ronald Acuna? When that comes in, they're going to be a very lethal team. It's just about when they get going and if they can prolong the success. So to wrap it up, I'm going to go over some sleeper teams for the season. So I have 3 teams who I believe are going to be sleeper teams. The first team might seem not so much of a sleeper team because they're in first place, but nobody thought they were going to be this good. I think they can be really good in the postseason as well if they can get there. The Oakland Athletics. So they're extremely young and capable of beating top teams, right? They're going to beat them with hits and with grit. Excuse me. They got Langelier. They got Nick Kurtz. They got Jacob Wilson. They got guys on that team that are just young and going to beat you with the small ball. They have Jeff McNeil. They have, like I mentioned, Shea Langelier. They got Lawrence Butler. They have, on that pitching side, they have Luis Severino, Jeffrey Springs, who's solid, Jacob Lopez, who's going to make some noise, hopefully. They have, that's pretty much their deficiency is the pitching. They're not going to be too good on the pitching end. Like I mentioned, some of the guys that I just mentioned are not going to have big names, big seasons. Luis Severino does have the capabilities of being a big time contributor, but they're going to win on offense. Offensively, they're going to win because they're going to score runs. They're going to beat you with the offense. If they make some moves and potentially get a couple pitchers, hey, this team's going to obviously sort of drift up to that maybe tier 1 of the American League. Right now, they're probably in the bottom of the tier 2, but they could definitely make that jump to the tier 1 because of the youth, the grit, and the coaching. The A's are going to be set up very well. The Royals. So the Royals are not starting off so hot. I'm a big fan of the Royals in for the last couple years. I'm a big fan of them. I'm a big fan of Bobby Witt. Bobby Witt, to me, is a top 5 player in baseball. But the Royals can upset some teams. I don't think they'll be in title contention. They lack some of the offensive, but they can definitely upset because of Perez, Bobby Witt, Jake Cagnoli, and other numerous guys in that rotation. I believe Jonathan India. So they have some guys that can go out there and put the ball in play, beat you from that side of the field, but they're not going to beat you in a 7-game series. And next I have the Reds. The Reds have power hitters all around the infield. They have Ellie De La Cruz, Spencer Steer, and Eugenio Suarez. I love Eugenio Suarez. He is a guy who might not hit 300, but he's going to give you 40 bombs consistently. Providing structure to that lineup, and I can't emphasize this more enough for non-baseball players or people who are new to the game. Baseball is the ultimate team sport, right? We always have the discussion of, in any other sport, you get the discussion of the GOAT, right? Yeah, basketball, golf is an individual sport, so you don't really involve that. You have basketball, football, soccer, all that. Whenever you look and say, who is the GOAT? Who comes into the discussion for basketball? You have LeBron, Jordan. Kobe's not on the top in the discussion, but I'm going to put him in there because people think Kobe's the GOAT when he's not. And Kareem. What is the argument for Jordan over LeBron? He has 6 rings. LeBron has 4. What is the argument for LeBron and Kobe? LeBron's the much better player, right? So in all these sports, rings gets brought up explicitly. Baseball is the only sport, and I don't know why we don't look at it more often in other ways, that doesn't involve rings. Who is in the discussion for the GOAT? Ohtani's going to get in there, but not yet. You have Barry Bonds, who is the consensus GOAT. Many people think Bonds, sure, the steroids can make your argument a little tougher, but he was a 3-time MVP before he got busted, before he even got accused of steroids. 3-time MVP. 7 MVPs came from Barry Bonds. Kareem has 6 MVPs, and he has multiple titles. But why is Bonds a guy who's never won World Series in the GOAT discussion? Griffey, I believe he has 1 or has no rings, right? That's the definition of baseball. It's a team sport. You are not going to win based on one player's contribution, right? You take Ohtani out of the Dodgers, they'd probably still win a ring. Maybe we might disagree, but they still, because the team is structured so well. You take Judge out of the Yankees, they're not going to win a ring. Does he add their chances? Sure, but they're not favored, right? It's when you add 3 players, when you add 2 pitchers, an offensive player, when you add a lineup where the 2 through the 5 are just ready to grind at bats, where sometimes maybe the 1 through the 6 aren't looking the best. 2 and 3 might be the star hitters, but the 7, 8, 9 can put up hits and put up runs. That's when you get championship teams. Every other sport, they have to have a ring to be considered great. In baseball, you just got to do you. That shows the team sport. That shows that it's so hard and that it's solely structured on having a good team, that rings are not part of the discussion for the greatest of all time. It's about what can you do on the field. That just shows how hard it is, and a lot of these teams need that. Ellie, Spencer, and Eugenio Suarez, that's a good little team that can put up a couple runs on you, do some damage to you. And they're a sleeper. They're a sleeper team. They're a very big sleeper team. Anything can happen at the trade deadline. That's still months away. We're still very much in the infancy of the season, but we'll get there. We'll get there. All this will come into fruition. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm right. We'll see how it happens, how it goes in. But until then, we'll keep updating you guys every week. You know what I mean? That's all I have for today. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. I look at the analytics from my podcast, and I'm very proud of you guys. I'm very proud to be somebody that you guys watch and tune into, listen to the podcast on every time. Please check out the TikToks. Please check out the Instagrams, the YouTube shorts. Yeah, I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. Peace and love. I hope God blesses you guys all. I hope you guys have wonderful rest of your day, wonderful rest of your weekend. And yes, I'll see you guys so much. Thank you guys for tuning in. Love you guys. Bye bye.